Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, in the heart of American entertainment, we turn our attention to one of Hollywood's most celebrated names, Scarlett Johansson. Known across the United States and around the world for her powerful performances on screen, Johansson is now stepping into uncharted territory, behind the camera. With her directorial debut, Eleanor the Great, she begins a new chapter not just in her career, but in the broader story of American cinema. Hollywood has long been considered the beating heart of the American entertainment industry, a place where careers are built, stories are told, and cultural influence is exported across the globe. In recent years, however, the industry has been undergoing a noticeable shift, one that reflects both the evolving landscape of storytelling and the ambitions of its most prominent stars. Scarlett Johansson, one of the most recognizable actresses of the last 2 decades, has taken a bold step into this changing world. With her decision to direct her first feature film, Eleanor the Great, she joins a growing list of Hollywood figures who are transitioning from in front of the camera to behind it. This shift is not just about a career move for Johansson, but it symbolizes a broader transformation within the American film industry. For decades, the traditional structure of Hollywood was clear. Actors performed, directors directed, and the lines between those roles were rarely crossed. But the American entertainment industry has always been fueled by reinvention, and today, those lines are becoming increasingly blurred. Johansson's leap into directing is part of a larger movement where many of America's biggest stars are claiming more creative control, wanting to tell stories not only through their performances but also through their vision as filmmakers. This shift reflects the hunger in the United States for new kinds of storytelling, ones that are shaped by diverse perspectives and unique creative voices. What makes Johansson's move especially compelling in the context of United States news is the way it mirrors larger cultural and professional conversations happening across the country. Just as different industries in America are redefining leadership roles and expanding opportunities for women, Hollywood is doing the same. Johansson's directorial debut becomes more than just a film announcement, it becomes part of a national narrative about ambition, leadership, and the reimagining of professional boundaries. For years, the entertainment industry was criticized for being slow to adapt to these changes, but today, as more women step into directorial roles, the momentum is undeniable. Analysts in the U.S. media point out that Johansson's shift is also a strategic move in terms of career longevity. In Hollywood, acting careers can often be unpredictable, and the ability to transition into directing provides stability, legacy, and continued influence. In American culture, where reinvention is celebrated as part of the national spirit, Johansson's decision reflects the broader idea that talent should not be confined to one role. Just as American entrepreneurs reinvent themselves across industries, Hollywood stars like Johansson are reinventing their creative identities within the industry itself. The impact of this Hollywood shift is not limited to Johansson alone. Across the United States, there is a growing appreciation for actor-turned-directors who bring their insider knowledge of performance to their directing style. This dynamic can often produce films that feel more intimate, more connected to the actor's experiences, and more attuned to the emotional resonance that American audiences value. Johansson's transition also adds credibility to the trend, given her stature as one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. If she succeeds, it could encourage even more actors to explore directing as a serious and respected path. When Scarlett Johansson announced her directorial debut with Eleanor the Great, the decision quickly made headlines across the United States, not just as a milestone in her personal career, but as a clear reflection of how Hollywood itself is changing. Industry observers have long noted that when major figures in the American film business make bold moves, the ripple effects extend far beyond their personal projects. Johansson's entry into directing is no exception. It signals a broader transformation within the entertainment industry, one that could influence the way films are made, the kinds of stories that are told, and the opportunities available to future generations of filmmakers in the United States. The American film industry is built on influence. When a star as prominent as Johansson steps behind the camera, it sends a message to studios, producers, and audiences alike. Actors are no longer content to simply perform roles written and directed by others. They want to shape narratives from start to finish. This shift has an undeniable industry impact. Studios are forced to adjust, providing more resources and trust to actors who are ready to take on directorial responsibilities. The United States has already seen examples of this trend with actors like Ben Affleck, Greta Gerwig, and Jordan Peele, who successfully crossed into directing and redefined their careers. Johansson's move reinforces this growing reality. Acting and directing are no longer separate spheres but increasingly interconnected roles within Hollywood. From an economic standpoint, the industry impact of Johansson's decision is significant as well. In the United States, where box office numbers drive studio decisions, having a star like Scarlett Johansson attached to a film as both director and creative visionary increases marketability. Investors and distributors are more likely to support projects led by recognizable names, which in turn creates new pathways for films that may not otherwise have been made. This is especially important at a time when American cinema is competing with global streaming platforms, and fresh, authentic stories are in high demand. Johansson's directorial debut can be seen as part of the industry's response to that demand, showing that Hollywood is willing to take risks if it means staying relevant in a crowded media landscape. Culturally, the industry impact extends even further. In the United States, where conversations about gender equality and representation in Hollywood remain front and center, Johansson's directorial role adds momentum to efforts aimed at creating a more inclusive industry. For decades, women directors struggled to gain recognition in an environment dominated by male decision-makers. Today, however, the growing presence of women behind the camera is changing the dynamics of American film production. Johansson's debut is not just about her personal ambition, it represents a broader cultural moment in which Hollywood is slowly but surely opening its doors to more diverse leadership. Analysts covering the U.S. entertainment scene also point out that Johansson's move could influence the types of films that get made. When actors transition into directing, they often bring with them a deep understanding of performance and storytelling from the perspective of the characters they have played. This can create films that feel more character-driven and emotionally rich, qualities that American audiences consistently respond to. If Johansson applies her decades of experience as an actress to her directing style, Eleanor the Great could set a new standard for balancing artistic creativity with audience appeal. The industry watches closely, knowing that one successful debut can inspire a wave of similar projects across Hollywood. Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut with Eleanor the Great is not only a professional milestone but also a cultural event that resonates deeply within the United States. Hollywood is often seen as more than an entertainment hub. It is a mirror of American culture and a driver of social conversations that stretch far beyond the silver screen. Johansson's move behind the camera comes at a time when issues of gender equity, diversity, and representation dominate national discourse. In this context, her transition takes on symbolic weight, becoming a reflection of broader cultural changes taking place across the United States. For decades, Hollywood has been criticized for being slow to adapt to evolving cultural expectations. Women, in particular, have often struggled for recognition in directorial roles, facing systemic barriers that kept the power of storytelling largely in the hands of men. But in recent years, there has been a noticeable cultural shift in America. From boardrooms to film sets, conversations about equity and representation have grown louder, shaping industries and institutions across the country. Johansson's decision to direct adds momentum to these discussions. She is not just an actress pursuing a new challenge, she is stepping into a leadership role in one of the most visible industries in the world, aligning with the broader American push for inclusive leadership and equal opportunities. Culturally, this moment also highlights the way Americans view celebrity influence. In the United States, public figures often shape cultural norms and inspire societal debates. When someone as high-profile as Scarlett Johansson steps behind the camera, it captures public attention in a way that reinforces the significance of women claiming space in positions of authority. The U.S. news cycle reflects this, with coverage framing her directorial debut not only as an artistic endeavor but as a contribution to ongoing cultural progress. For many Americans, it becomes more than a movie, it becomes a statement about what the country values in this moment of change. Another aspect of cultural relevance lies in the themes of storytelling itself. The types of films that get made in Hollywood often reflect what matters to American audiences at a given time. Johansson's choice to direct a film like Eleanor the Great suggests an appetite for more personal, character-driven narratives that go beyond blockbuster formulas. This is in line with a broader trend in U.S. culture where audiences are increasingly seeking stories that resonate on a deeper level, stories that feel authentic and reflective of real human experiences. In this sense, Johansson's work contributes to shaping cultural tastes in the United States, offering a story that can stand alongside other socially conscious films shaping national conversations. When Scarlett Johansson announced her directorial debut with Eleanor the Great, the story quickly moved beyond entertainment columns and into the broader U.S. news cycle. This wasn't simply another Hollywood update, it became a national headline, a cultural talking point, and a reflection of how closely tied American identity is to the stories produced in its film industry. The United States has long held Hollywood as one of its most powerful global exports, a symbol of creativity, ambition, and cultural influence. So, when one of its most celebrated stars takes a step as significant as directing her first feature film, the moment inevitably captures the national spotlight. The attention Scarlett Johansson has drawn with her directorial debut highlights the way celebrity culture intersects with broader American society. Across U.S. news networks, morning shows, and late-night programs, Johansson's move is being discussed not only as a career shift but as an emblem of transformation in American entertainment. National attention amplifies the importance of the moment, ensuring that audiences who may not typically follow the intricacies of the film industry are still aware of this milestone. This visibility matters, because in the United States, stories that rise into the national spotlight often shape cultural values and conversations far beyond their original context. Hollywood milestones like this one are often framed in American news coverage as reflections of progress, leadership, and ambition, the very qualities the nation prides itself on. Johansson's step into directing fits neatly into that narrative. For years, she has been recognized as a powerhouse performer, one of the highest-paid actresses in the world, and a household name across the country. Her transition from actress to director allows Americans to see her in a new light, one that aligns with the national admiration for reinvention and growth. By gaining the spotlight on a national stage, Johansson's move underscores how individual ambition in Hollywood often resonates with American ideals of striving for more and refusing to settle. The national spotlight also speaks to the significance of representation in American life. In a country where diversity, gender equality, and inclusion remain ongoing points of debate and progress, Johansson's debut carries symbolic weight. News outlets are not simply reporting that she is directing, they are highlighting that a woman is taking the reins of a major project in an industry that has historically been male-dominated. For American audiences, particularly women and young people aspiring to enter the arts, this coverage offers both visibility and inspiration. The U.S. thrives on stories that break barriers, and Johansson's directorial debut has become one of those stories. Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut with Eleanor the Great continues to unfold. It becomes clear that this moment is far bigger than a single film. It represents a Hollywood shift that speaks to the evolution of American cinema, an industry impact that is reshaping the balance of creative power, a cultural relevance that reflects the nation's ongoing conversations about equality and representation, and a national spotlight that reminds us how deeply entertainment is woven into the fabric of the United States. In stepping behind the camera, Johansson has done more than take on a new role. She has positioned herself as part of a broader movement that defines this generation of American storytelling. And in true American fashion, her story is not just about Hollywood, but about ambition, reinvention, and the pursuit of new horizons. The United States, through its films and its cultural icons, has always told the world who it is. With Johansson's debut, that story grows richer, more inclusive, and more reflective of the values shaping the country today.